Okay, brothers, let's go through all the mistakes that I did today. There were a few. Markets were choppy. No, technically, no trade today. But I just had to tip my feet into the market and I lost with a minor position, less than 0.5%. So doesn't really mean much. But when these kind of mistakes are starting to stack, that's when you kind of those small losers start to stack up into a like a big one. So let's review everything here. I'ma just do that. Then let's go. Euro USD. I was kind of hesitant. I was thinking like, okay, maybe we are going to see a trade above from this pool, but at the same time, from this range down to this high. After a sweep here, we are still not even close to that equilibrium level. So I'm thinking, probably buys at that point. Let's say we got a break of structure, buys at that point are probably not the best idea. Although if you get like a very convincing pattern such as this, it could play out decently. Okay, Euro USD, no trade. We basically just moved down. No trade in London, no trade in New York. GU, same stuff. If you were truly bearish, you could have basically at any of these points got short there, maybe even there. But it doesn't fit my trading plan. No trade, too choppy. Nothing identifiable there. Let's go to AU. My higher time frame bias was short to these lows. Let's just do this actually. Short to these lows. So what did I want to say? Well, you can see. So when you look at that range, what do you see? Because like we see equal highs here. We got M30 fair value gap, and the reason why I'm in an M30 chart because there is no fair value gaps in any other time frame. So I'm expecting at this point there's liquidity, fair value gap. We need to revisit that area before shorting. And I also realized that if we counted this fair value gap at first, maybe we could have potential buy setup to that, but my long time frame bias is still short at that point. Now we can see that the time frame that I traded, I usually stop trading at, what is that? That's 11 a.m. New York time, so that's 6 p.m. my time there. So basically this is my window when I like to look at for trades. During this window, nor before this window, we didn't sweep any liquidity, any significant area. We moved super choppy everywhere around. Nothing good. AU is out. USD CAD. The whole time I was thinking of longs. You can think many things, but when the chart looks like this, you just disqualify it like that. I'm not gonna trade that shit. AUD CAD is a asset that I haven't traded ever, but I'm starting to backtest that. And AUD CAD presented a decent setup. Now it's not A++ because we don't actually rebalance the equilibrium of this price leg. If he had rebalanced the equilibrium, took out that liquidity, that would have been almost A plus to go long. And that's tape trading setup, which ended up working out, but didn't take that. And when I see all of this happening, I'm like frustrated and stuck because I cannot get in. And I start looking for gold. And gold actually presented a setup that I could have technically executed, but I kind of figured it out a little bit too late, and didn't take it at the end of the day. But so I will show you the setup here real quick. So we are all-time highs, break of structure to the downside. You see how the daily candle closes, bearish close, with that being your fair value gap that I like to target for the next day, because often when we close above the previous day high, as you see in here, you're expected to see this day's high also to get swept. But when you don't close above, as you can see here, we just wicked above, we didn't close above, then you are expecting the bias to shift. And I have backtested this plays out around 60 or 70% of the time, which means that we should sweep that low now. And it's not only a regular low, it's also a daily fair value gap at all-time highs, so that could be expected. That is your internal range liquidity to external range liquidity. And we could even continue dropping from here, who knows. But that's my draw for the day. I was. Okay, what do you see? In daily, we got that fair break of structure. We got that fair value gap. Closed above it, which I don't like to see, but I guess we could get that there. So it doesn't really matter when the hourly is closed above, because M15 is holding there. And that's what I like to see. So how I would have managed this is break of structure. If you trade hourly chart, you could have taken a trade there. Now I don't trade that. We see additional break of structure to the downside, and additional 15-minute fair value gap there. And this is technically your order block range. And what is the first significant fair value gap above all of this liquidity? It's this, and it's inside of that order block's range, meaning that is my entry point. And I would have targeted that low. Now you can see that if I took this, I probably would have taken some profits out somewhere near here and moved break even my stops. So this would have probably been like plus 1% profit with break even stops or something like that, because we would have closed there around 2R, probably half the position up. But yeah, I didn't take that because I wasn't cautious enough with that shit. But when that rejection had happened here, I was thinking like, okay, we are clearly selling off. Let me try to look short in this area. And then I started to look at fair value gaps. Couldn't really identify any. I was trying to... Wait. Where was it? It was here, yeah. So only thing I could identify is this 3-minute gap, because M5, no gaps in this range. There's only one gap in here, but I didn't... when I started to look at the setups, we had already broken to the downside in here. So only one 3-minute fair value gap. in that range. So what did I do? I risked like 0.2% because like I was not that confident. I haven't traded gold that much. I was like, okay, let me just risk very small position and kind of like a play with this. So we didn't get tapped in at the fair value gap, but because of spreads, I usually set my sell limits around like a little bit lower. So it was almost like a miracle that I got in because it was so clean. It just tapped my entry and immediately rejected, and you can see how clean that M1 rejected immediately to the downside. Now I would have taken profits out at that Asia low, but realistically, if I risk like 0.1% or something with that kind of trade, it doesn't really bother me if I lose the profits here. So I was just like chill, and break-even stopped out. Cool. Now I had a bear bias for the day. That's why I was selling. Now here comes the mistake that I did, because that was like a decent trade. Like I mean, maybe it's not totally to my plan, but it was like very small light risk. I literally wouldn't have cared if that hit my stop loss, and I do want to learn how to trade gold. But here comes the problem. I got wait there. We got that fair value gap to the upside. We got that break of structure, and I wouldn't have thought too much about this because again my overall draw was that low. But I'm in this certain Discord group in which the people seem to think that it's going to long towards these highs and maybe towards all-time highs. And I didn't necessarily agree with that, but I don't know, I was bored or some shit. I just wanted to have some type of action. So I just took it with 0.4% risk. So it's light risk again today. Break even or small loss there, here, and then we got like 0.4% loss here because I had my stop below this, but the spread got me out. And you can see how unlucky that is, because I reckon I would have got break even otherwise, because and maybe even some profits because we ran to that high. But then it didn't work out because the target was here. So the thing is, I let people's thoughts kind of influence my bias and everything, really. I was always bearish with this shit. And yeah, I'm not professional yet. I'm not yet that profitable, but I should be able to trust my bias. And even if like some so-called professional or profitable trader thinks that it's going to go long, it doesn't mean that it's going to go long. I could be right, and that's what I realized today. And I still could be technically wrong, because this is your bullish range. We got some inducement liquidity. You see how that wicks, so it could still run like heavily. But you know, today I let people's thoughts influence my bias a little bit, and maybe I could have executed AUD CAD if I was more confident with it, but as of now I cannot execute that. I need to backtest it a little bit more. Gold had a setup that I kind of missed, so that's the day recap today. And yeah. So long.